Good morning guys, I'm Chris and welcome back to this Sunday's episode of Rift Amps. So if you are new here, welcome. We've had a massive number of views in the last couple of weeks. So for everyone that's tuned in and you haven't been here before, welcome. If you have tuned in before, welcome back. Just to give you a little idea of what this channel is all about. This is kind of like a workshop diary thing. So unlike other YouTube channels in this kind of area, I don't get too techie on stuff. I just show you what's going on in the workshop, what I get up to. We have a Q&A on Wednesdays. So if you've got any comments and questions, put them down in the comments below. But we kind of keep things jargon free, keep it nice and easy to show you what's going on here at Rift. And I hope you all enjoy it. Right, I've actually filmed this scene already, but the sound didn't work. So we'll have a go again. Okay, it's the 67 Deluxe Reverb on the bench, fired up. Most of the voltages inside look okay. It is slightly down on power, currently doing 17 watts into 8 ohms. Obviously we'll be looking for more than that from one of these. 22 watts is about right. But we've got an issue. First thing I noticed on a play test is that the reverb doesn't work at all. I've tried the tank that's in the cabinet, the original tank, the original cable. I've tried my cable, and I've tried my test tank, and I've tried an alternative tank. Reverb's still not working. So injector signal into the front end, signal trace through, and we get signal right up until the reverb out. Sorry, reverb input. So that's where the signal leaves the chassis, heads down the cable and up to the tank. And we've got signal up until that point. But we don't have any signal whatsoever coming back from the tank. So we do some basic checks, make sure that this isn't shorting to ground. It's not. Double check my cable, check continuity through it, all okay. So why have we got signal here but not here? And we know the tank and the cable is good. So I just thought, let me just measure from here through my cable all the way up and actually measure this end of the cable. Still no signal, which indicates there's an issue between here and the cable. So it's got to be the socket, right? I'll zoom you in, and I was just having a quick poke around. Don't worry, the amplifier is unplugged and it is discharged. And I was just coming in, giving this a quick mess around, because it does look like it's sticking out more than this one. And lo and behold, there's your issue. Okay, so this socket needs replacing. This one also feels very loose. There's quite a lot of play in that. And it's not the tightness of the ground lugs, it's the opening inside where the play is. So got to swap these two out. I think definitely this one as well for reliability. Then we can come back, see where we are, and see if we can hunt down the rest of the issues. The one thing I did see though, that I didn't show you before, was the bias board. Got a nice radial cap there. That hasn't been done particularly well. Anyway, let's crack on, get these sockets swapped. And we're back. Okay, so new sockets installed. I've reused the original nuts just to try and keep it somewhat original, but you can see shiny new sockets compared to the old style. And we now have reverb and no play in the plugs. Perfect. Reverb sounds good. As always on these, can be a little bit splashy if you go too high. So, but yeah, I mean, that's black panel reverbs, isn't it? So now what I want to do, it's actually running quite quiet. Even with all the controls on 10, just your standard background hit treble hiss, nothing over the top. Something's microphonic on the board somewhere. So we'll find that. But I just want to tidy up some of the solder joints, make sure it's all good, give it a standard service, and oh yeah, it's now back to full power now the reverb's working. Can't say I've seen that before. Very interesting, but there you go. But yeah, tremolo works. Everything seems to be fine. Treble control, the volume control on the vibrato channel is a little bit scratchy, so we'll try giving that a clean first. There is no DC on it, so it's got to be dirt, but it's too consistent to sound like it's dirt. But anyway, we'll clean it up and see how we go. But apart from that, yeah, very nice amplifier, running great. Should be a nice, quick, easy fix for the reverb. The Cat CB2, do you remember this is the one that had that horrendous hum that I was struggling to hunt down? Now I did find, where's my chopstick? It's over here. Lots and lots of loose bolts, loose grounds. Nearly all of the hardware needed tightening up. But that wasn't the cause. The cause was V2. This 12AX7 here, which I've now swapped out for a good one. What have we done with the old one? Here's the old one. So I removed this valve, fitted a new one. The problem went away and I could not get it to return. Waited for 10 minutes, plugged this one back in, and the problem then immediately returned. However, on the tester, it still tests good. So it's an interesting one, but yeah, just a noisy valve. But apart from that, the amp is running great. Currently doing around 14 watts into 8 ohms, which is probably about right for one of these. So we'll just leave it soak testing, make sure I'm all happy with it. I've been through giving it a service and a check over now, sorted everything out. But yeah, I'm going to call this one done and get on with the other one. Here it is then, the Cat Wildcat 40R. So the R means it's got reverb. Cool, right. It took me about half an hour to get this chassis out of the cabinet. First of all, the rear panel was completely stuck in there. Wedged. I mean, who knows the last time that thing was removed. But I was hammering at it with a rubber mallet trying to get it out. Eventually it did. It's all okay. And then the chassis was stuck to the roof. So even though I'd removed the bolts, it was hanging there, just completely stuck to it. And I had to give it a good old wiggle to get this thing out. Anyway, first thing I notice, and I hope this comes across on camera, is that is the largest mains transformer I've ever seen. It's huge, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that's easily so it is just over about 5¼ inches wide or long. It's got a 2-inch stacking on it, and it's about 4½ inches tall. This thing, and it's got the bell covers as well. This thing is monstrous. What have I got that I can... Here, here's a 9-volt battery. That's just mad. Anyway, so GZ34 rectifier, 2 EL34s, and here they are, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 preamp valves, one of which of course will be the phase inverter. So we've got a choke here, reverb transformer, output transformer. Okay, let's get this thing flipped over, have a look inside. And here we are then. So that classic matchless bag cap build standard, build style, very nice indeed. Lots going on in here. Lots to sort out, lots to investigate, lots to learn. But, so what's the customer complaint on it? Well, he wants me to service it as usual, but he said he's owned the amp for a very long time, and throughout its life, it's always burnt through its output valves really quickly, so he's constantly having to replace them. And he wants to know, is that right for this amp? Is there an underlying problem? What can we find? Is there anything we can do to help extend the lifespan of EL34s? Because, you know, valves are quite expensive now. So let's have a look then. I can see that these output valves are cathode biased by the looks of things. Yes, they are. And it's also got a half power, full power switch on the back. So we've got a cathode biased output section on the face of it. Excuse me. So I'm just having a quick look. It's got a really interesting thing on the back here, speaker phase. So you can invert the phase of the speaker to match other gear you're playing with. That's pretty cool. Speaker impedance switch, and it's currently set to 16 ohms, but the cabinet has two 8-ohm speakers in parallel for 4 ohms. So, have we found the issue already? Well, no, I'm afraid not, because even though it's set to 16 ohms, watch what happens when I try and turn this. The knob turns, but the shaft is not. You see that? So at the moment, we don't know what impedance or which impedance is actually selected and what this amp has been running on for who knows how long. Is that the cause of the issue? Maybe, probably not, but maybe. We'll do some investigation to find out. Essentially, what I want to do is to measure the operating conditions of the circuit, find out exactly what kind of stresses and loads these things are under, if at all, and go from there. So let's first of all, let's get this sorted. Make sure it's selecting the right impedance to where we want it. I'm going to test everything at 8 ohms as I usually do, so that's where I'm going to set it. Then we'll get an 8 ohm load onto it. We'll start this up on the test bench and we'll take some measurements. Don't worry, it's not as bad as it looks, but this switch was seized solid and it was stuck in the 16 ohm position. It was at 16 ohms. And I had to get the mole grips on it to finally break it free so I can go from 4 to 8 to 16. Now I've broken it free, it's actually going quite well. I've got loads of cleaner in there and it's actually moving quite well. So I make sure to lubricate that shaft just in case. But that was seized solid. I've never seen anything like it. Right, so anyway, 8 ohms, let's get testing. Just spoke to the customer quickly because I wanted to check why these EL34s were in the bottom of the cabinet and not actually installed in the chassis. And I'm glad I did, because he did tell me that he thinks one of them has started arcing and has already failed. So we need to be careful. We can't fire this up with these in. So I'm going to have to route through. I don't want to put a new set in either in case there's something wrong with the amp. So I'm going to route through my stash of old valves, just find a roughly matched pair that I can install, and then we can check the operating conditions of the amp. But I'm going to put this aside for 1 minute because the AC10 output transformer has come back from Rewind. See, they've done an excellent job. Still got its vintage vibe and character going on. And they've even used the original wire colours, so it'll be easy enough to get this thing straight back in and fired up. And because I kept the bell cover, it didn't get lost, so we can reuse that and it's going to fit back in and you wouldn't even know. Been making some progress on this PR18 brown panel build. Transformers all wired in, sockets have started to wire, the board is now done, and so all the flying leads and twisties done and in. I've wired up the top side of the board. So I'm now going to do the 4 preamp sockets next, and then I've got a half power switch, heaters, powers, mains, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, coming along really nicely. But the good news, as always, is that the sun has finally come out. It stopped raining, the sun is out, and it's gorgeous. Although it is really cold. It is really, really cold. So I've had to put the workshop heater on. But I will take a cold sunny day in the autumn over the rain any day of the week. Okay, AC10 up and running, all running great. I was getting into, I'll show you. On the scope, it's breaking up. So let's have a look into 8 ohms. What do we need? For 10 watts, we need 9 volts AC. Well, I'm getting, what we're doing here. That one, right, okay, so 8.8, and it's clipping just at the top there. Back it down, 8.5, which gives us 9 watts. So we're much closer than we were before. Do you remember it was such low output? So we could probably try and squeeze an extra half a watt out of it, but to be honest with you, it actually sounds really, really good. And because it's in the ballpark, it's fine. Excuse the kind of jerry-rigged setup here. So because of the connector block here, and it's missing one of the screws, I can't connect up both the 8 and the 16 ohm plug to this socket. And of course I don't want to replace it, but nor do I need to, because the cabinet is 2 8 ohm speakers in series, giving us 16 ohms. So we don't actually need the 8 ohm tap round one here, which I've just hooked up for testing. So I'm just going to, on this block, have the 16 ohm tap and the speakers wired into that. All good. And then we're just going to cut this one short and heat shrink it off out of the way. But yeah, going to leave that soak testing now for a good number of hours. I think one of the preamp valves is a little bit weak, but to be honest with you, I've seen far worse. So I'm not going to overly worry about that. The only thing I do need to do is check the tremolo on it, which I'll do shortly. Make sure that's all thumping away nicely, and then we can get this thing back in the cab and give the customer a call. Right, it's had 2 hours now burning in. It's doing exactly 9 volts RMS output. That's what the sine wave looks like, just at the point of clipping. And as we know, 9 times 9, so 9 squared divided by 8 ohms gives us 10.1 watts. Bang on, perfect, sorted. Very happy with that. Tremolo's good, we're all sorted. Nothing to do on this now apart from get it in the cab. VOX AC10 all back together, all done, sounding fantastic. Really happy with the way this thing has turned out. So we'll just do some quick sound samples. I'm going to do it on the loop. You're not going to hear me playing today. But yeah, let's go. Classic riff number 10 by Ainsley Lister. do the same with the tremolo. VOX AC10 done. Well, that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again. Please give this video a thumbs up. All your comments and questions down below. We do need some good questions for next Wednesday's Q&A. Subscribe if you haven't already. The subscriber numbers are going up. We're nearly at 4,000 subscribers. So please, if you haven't already, hit that button. There's a notification bell so you know whenever I put out a new video. If you're feeling really generous, like Jeremy was this week, you can join the channel for such a small fee, and I will catch you all at the next one.